Go ahead.
I hope. Okay, let's go through it. So I want to say something about what topics of interest we have from Horizon Europe so far at TNO. It's not an exhaustive list. If you know TNO at all, you realize that we're a huge multidisciplinary technology research organization. And I'm just looking really at two units, industry and the circular economy and environment units, where we have done some Horizon Europe topics in relation to space, but we also do many other Horizon Europe topics in other areas as well for energy transition and automotive and other things. So for me, the main topics of interest for our unit industry are, well, as Gerard mentioned, photonics for space components. The first call that came out, we did not respond to it. We looked at it with various partners, but we weren't too happy with the call text. End-to-end Earth observation systems, you'd think should be a natural for an organization that develops spectrometers for atmospheric chemistry. However, in the current scope, it has it as a high precision optical sensing system. So again, I'm afraid not directly interesting, but I think we can design something for the future from that when we look at future work program calls in 23, 24 and beyond. Satellite communication. This is a very important area for us, both from the radio point of view. We have people in our defense area who work with radio antennas and receivers, but also much more recently, the laser SATCOM area. And that has really taken off. We have a number of developments with a variety of different customers for laser satellite communication terminals. And these are also going to be very important in future Horizon Europe projects. Quantum technology. Well, recently we won 2 contracts for pilot and test facilities under the framework program agreements. So we'll be writing proposals or leading proposals on those for new quantum technology. And we want to explore where this can also be relevant for space quantum sensors. And this is a direct topic that's in there for gravimetry, etc. In Horizon Europe as well, the Commission has started to pay for in-orbit demonstration, in-orbit verification missions for instruments or technologies which are at least at TRL 6. So that's quite well developed. We looked at it and we're not doing it this year, but I'd be very open to talk to people about what might be happening next year or what we could do next year. Because I'm sure that this would be a program that goes on throughout Horizon Europe. Finally, for topics of interest in our circular economy and environment, it's maybe not for this week, but Raymond, you did mention it. It's the CAMS, the Copernicus Atmospheric Monitoring Service. We have people in our circular economy and environment unit, and they've worked for a long time on different applications. So not raw data analysis, but generating actual applications for people to use. Moving on. More topics of interest. Well, these are things which have started to be discussed at the Commission, and where I think as the Netherlands, we need to take interest and put forward our ideas to the Commission maybe through RVO, through the Team Iris Plankball groups, V1 strategy. Copernicus 2035. The Commission has started to investigate or ask what should be the next Earth observation systems to be developed. So beyond where we have the current set of Sentinels, and see what should be the ideas that they start to develop, and both between the Commission and ESA, beyond the final launch of the last Sentinel 10 or so in about 2035. But there's another area which has suddenly become very topical, should we say, because of the situation with Russia. There's a sudden realization, it seems, in the Commission that civil defense aspects of space have not had enough attention. That there's a lot of assets in space which need to either be protected or need to be always available in order for things like communication, secure communication, for example. So now there are strategies being developed for space situation awareness, space weather, space surveillance, space traffic management, And these are all moving forward. You can read the strategy papers on the Commission site. And I expect calls for those in the future cluster 4 for 23-24, particularly in these SSA topics. Now, related to that, and again, it's kind of with quantum key distribution as well, these type of things, is secure connectivity. So reliable satellite communications, not only for military applications, but also, of course, for also civilian applications, banks or other entities who need to transfer secure confidential information. What I can see, again, from various papers that are now being circulated is that European Defence Fund, the European Defence area, will have a lot of links and will link into the Horizon Europe Space RNI area for the future. And the only thing that I can say, which is an issue, is that there's no new money. So the funding of these initiatives is going to be an interesting exercise where they have to exchange funds from current areas inside Pillar 2, particularly, into these new topical areas. And it may mean that what we're looking at, not in 2022, but certainly in work programs for 23-24, I can imagine that there may be some areas that we would like to have there which will disappear. But we have to see. And this all comes down to the way in which we can lobby, how we can influence things. Yeah, so it's the same thing. So what I want to cover quickly is that there are two routes by which the space area can be somewhat influenced by industries or by institutes like ourselves, not only through Raymond and NSO and the RVO. There are two routes which give stakeholder consultation to industry directly. One is called STARS EU. This is a CSA action by the Commission. For those of you who know it, it's a kind of follow-on from what was called the STEP project, which helped establish the basis for the space partnership, which is the next thing that I will explain. And it's a CSA. It's led by Space Tech in Germany. And it has a number of work packages inside it, but the one that's most interesting is the support the consultation of the space RNI stakeholders, so work package 4. The STARS EU, you can find it website on the internet if you Google it, and through that you can join up to their emailing lists, etc., and start to receive information, and also join into their webinars in order to give feedback. Now, space as a whole has a budget allocated to it by the Commission, and at the moment, the STARS EU covers all of those areas of Horizon Europe Space. That is until a new space partnership should be established, and that is in process. It's something which is going forward with a number of associations, which I'll come on to next. So now, there is a space partnership that would be established between the Commission and an association. It's called Global Competitive Space Systems. It helped the original STEP program generated the Strategic Research Innovation Agenda relevant to space. After this had been reviewed within the Commission and also by member states, it was decided to select particular parts of the Strategic Research Innovation Agenda that would be implemented through the partnership. And these concern the areas. If you look in the work program, you'll see these titles in there. So foster competitiveness of space systems, future space ecosystems, so on-orbit operations, new industrial process and product tools, and reinforced access to space, disruptive concept. After those, certain selective things have been decided that they should be available for the partnership to help the Commission to determine what is in there, both from industrial, but also from research sides. They've allocated a proportion of the budget for space of 250 million euros over 5 years in the period between 2023 and 2027, with the expectation that the final projects will last until 2030. How does it look? Well, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but on the right-hand side, there's the Commission. And there will be a memorandum of understanding which establishes the basis of the partnership, and then various boards, including state representatives, an advisory committee from outside independent people, and a partnership board formed by the partners inside the association. The association of associations will be called SPACE, and presently the founding members is Eurospace, SME for Space, representing the industrial side, and then 3 research-related associations, ESRA, which is the research establishment. So for example, in the Netherlands, that's NLR. I'll say the next one, EASN, which is an association of universities interested in aerospace and space. And finally, in the middle is something called EASTRO, which is the European Association of Space Technology Research Organizations. It's a new association that's being created specifically for RTOs like TNO, and it will include other entities like Fraunhofer, VTT, Technalia, to name a few. And together, these 5 associations will create this one association and sign this MOU with the Commission, we hope, later this year, and kick off the partnership finally. So what are the general principles of such a partnership? And this is general to all things. The partners develop some initial draft roadmaps. They exchange with the SRG on the basis of the initial reflections. We realize roadmaps, we pass them into the partnership board, and that passes them on to the Commission. In between, while there is this SRG who will make a review and give an opinion to the Commission. So this is the state representatives group, so the member states. So they have an influence, and this is to provide a check that the partnership is not conflicting with national interests or with the programs already established by, for example, ESA. The Commission then gets these roadmaps, and then on the basis of that, they draft the work program with their own internal processes. So all this helps to formulate quite a large part of the work program for the future space calls that will be taking place. And I think it is something I want to bring to the attention of everybody here, because it's somewhere that people can join into. The partnership has 5 associations as founding members, but any industry, any other entity can also ask to join this partnership and therefore have an influence on the future work programs through this entity. So it gives a variety of routes. As I say, there's through RVO, there's through NSO, and through the partnership, that it's possible to express interests in your particular technologies and get them into the work programs. Okay. And that's it. If anybody has any questions or would like to contact me, my email address is here.